Hello. Hasn't it been a little while? Welcome to the Albanach knitter for this extra stitch. My name is Andrew. I am the Albanach knitter and I live here on the Isle of Arran in the west coast of Scotland, just off the west coast of Scotland. And I've been making little videos here for a few years now. And my aim is always to have a regular flow of videos, but sometimes, friends, life happens, and life has been happening. So welcome. If this is your first time, welcome to the channel. As I say, I mainly talk about what I'm knitting. I talk a little bit about life here on the Isle of Arran, and for those opportunities I get to travel, I sometimes take you with me and explore a few places, mainly around Scotland or parts of England, or sometimes even further afield, but that's not very often. But for those of you who are regulars here, you know pretty much what to expect, and it's so good to see you back. Now, you'll remember I said at the beginning of October, I intended to be back some point in mid-October with the next edition, the next episode, main episode of my little channel here. I had gone down to Galloway, which is a county in the south part of Scotland, and I was going down there because I was doing some ancestor research. I was going to sort of have a wander around a few graveyards and find a few houses and streets and things like that where sort of mainly fourth and fifth great grandparents had lived. So it was that kind of week, and also it's one of the areas where Christianity first began, sort of in Scotland. A chap called Saint Ninian in the sort of 4th, 5th century came and founded a little thing down there, a little church, a little monastery. So I was going to go down and visit that, and we duly did. We had a lovely time. It was just myself, my good lady wife, my youngest daughter, and of course Dougal, the Dunder dog, Dougal the Labrador, and he had a really good time. And we did have a lovely week. The weather wasn't, wonderful that time of year, but we had some good days and we had some good walks and we had, all that sort of thing. But then we came back and we were just about to get on the ferry to come home when we got a message to say that my mother-in-law, who lives on the island here, had taken ill and was having to go to hospital. So it's been quite a month and a bit, really, because she's been in various stages of recovery and not recovery and having to go back to hospital and various things. So lots of things I've had to go by the wayside, and so that we can actually do the things that we have to do, work and life, but also do what we can to support mother-in-law during these challenging few weeks. So that's my only excuse for not having been able to get back to you quite so quickly. So thank you very much for all your patience, and thank you to those of you who got in touch to ask and make sure that everything was okay. Everything's okay. We're just, that's what it's like with families, you care for your loved ones and they take priority. So thank you for all your positive thoughts, your warm wishes, and your prayers for us at this time. But one thing that has been continuing is my knitting. I have managed, in the midst of all the chaos and in the downtime as well, to keep on going with the knitting. Bearing in mind, I'm working full time, volunteering almost as much as I work, and also doing a doctorate. In case you hadn't forgot that. Sometimes I forget that I'm doing that, but there we go. Yes, I am doing all those crazy things, and just taking it at my own pace, as you see. I am not a man who can often be rushed. I do go through life at my own pace, much to the frustration of my wife and children, who, when they are out walking with father, discover that father has his own pace, which he prefers to see the world. I don't think that's a bad way to be. And it's just my little tiny rebellion against the frenetic activity of the world. Anyway, you probably came here for the knitting as much as anything else. So I want to update you on some of the things that I have been knitting. Now, October I suddenly discovered that October, in many people's world, is called Socktober. And it just so happened that towards the beginning of October, before we were getting ready to go on said holiday to Galloway, I thought, now what shall I take? What I wanted to take was something that was, light and portable and something that I could realistically have a good go at in the short week that we were away. So I did take some socks to knit on. Now, I can't remember if I've showed you these socks before because, as I say, it's been a wee while since I've been on the old YouTubes to talk to you. But let me just put this one down because I did manage to do some socks. And I think I had possibly completed one of these socks before I went away. But as you see, I now have two of these, and I think they're very nice. I like this wool. It's West Yorkshire Spinners, and I'll put the colourway down here. I also managed to complete, and I think I showed you these early October, with the same yarn, pigment and ply, all with the one batch, but somehow they're a little bit different. I think it's just how the dye has gone. So there was those. And I think I showed you, excuse the bald head, I think I showed you these shorties that I made, just two little pair of shorties there for somebody's Christmas, just as some bed socks, just a short little pair of blue socks. And I am currently working on another pair of socks, which I hope will be a Christmas gift, and I've finished one of the socks, but again, this is West Yorkshire Spinners, and this is the Juniper colourway. I really love these West Yorkshire Spinners wool sock yarns. I love the way they knit up. I think there's something like 80% wool and there's maybe 20% nylon in there just to do the sock thing. And this is the pattern, as I always use, by the Crazy Sock Lady, and it's the Magic Loop socks on Magic Loop, vanilla socks on Magic Loop. And I love this pattern now. I've almost got to the stage where I can do the heel flap and gusset. I don't know if you can see that, the gusset. I'm very proud of my gussets. The heel flap and gusset, pretty much without having to refer to the pattern too much, and that's a big move on from in my sock game, because I spent a good time just doing the afterthought heel, which is fine. If you're minded to do afterthought heel and that's easy for you, that's brilliant. It was definitely easy for me for a while. I knew how to knit a nice long tube in the round and then do the decreasing for the toes, and then go back in and be able to pick up some stitches, cut the yarn, and then go in and do the afterthought heel, and able to get a reasonable shape after that. So I was quite happy with those, but since I've started doing the heel flapping gusset, well, it's hard to go back. Now, I did try at some point, and when I say try, I do mean try, because I ended up frogging the sock because it was not a very good try. I did try to do a sock heel using German short rows. But that just wasn't very successful at all. I don't know exactly what it was I was doing. It may well be that I was trying to read from a book. In fact, I know I was trying to read from a book, and I just think I just wasn't picking up what the instructions were. What I really need to do, either because maybe that's the kind of learner I am, or maybe because I need to hear it and be able to see it as well. I think I need to go and watch some YouTube tutorials on the old German short row heels for socks. Now, I know there are loads and loads and loads of ways to do heels, and I can't say I'm somebody who wants to just go out and learn how to do lots and lots of different sock heels. What I want to do is I want to find the sock heel that I am satisfied with. I like the afterthought heel. I actually like the heel flapping gusset, and I think I'm going to stick with this. And as you all know on this channel, if you've been here any length of time, I do not like double pointed needles. I do not like them. This is well established. I do not like them. And so it's Magic Loop socks for me. So I've found my sweet spot in terms of just a plain vanilla sock goes. So So there you go. That's what I'm doing. And this is what I'm doing now, because I'm now started on the second of the socks, of the ones which I just showed you, with the sort of pinky red, grey, white and dark grey colourway. And as you can see, I am currently doing rib for the cuff. And what I've tried to do, now I think this is the first time I've tried to do this, what I've tried to do is, rather than just have two random pattern socks, I have tried to take the yarn to the point in the skein of the ball where I've got pretty much matching pattern going all the way down. Aren't you impressed? I wasn't impressed by the fact that I had to get rid of some yarn, and so I've now got some random little, you know, mini balls of yarn to have to discard so that I could actually get it to this point. But I think because these are potentially going to be a gift, I thought it'd be quite nice just to make them, you know, matchy. And in fact, those other ones, these ones here, they are actually going to be a gift to someone, not for Christmas, but for something else. So they are waiting to be heading off to someone in a way of saying thank you for something that they have given to me. So that's how it's going to work. So yeah, so that's been a lot of the knitting has been the old sock knitting, and when life is busy and you haven't necessarily got a lot of the brain scope or the broadband of the heat to concentrate on anything more complicated, sometimes just being able to sit down with a little sock is quite a good discipline. Having said that, of course, socks, you know, are relatively quick knits because they're a small garment, if you want to call it that. They don't take as long as, say, for example, a certain jersey or gansey or jumper that I'm also knitting. But sometimes in your knitting, well, I feel this anyway, sometimes you just want to be able to knit on something which you can maybe run up within the space of an extended evening or maybe a couple of evenings. And you may already have spotted them. Can you spot them? They are not too far behind me, just up over my shoulder here. 1, 2, 3 little robins, and look at their lovely little green elf hats. I love robins. I have several robins around the house. They're my favourite European robins. I love these little birds. Here in the UK, they're so friendly. They'll pretty much come up and eat out of your hand, or if you're sitting outdoors with a cup of coffee or something to eat, they'll come up right to you and expect a little bit of a crumb. And they're very photogenic. They pose and all sorts of things. And these little funny ones here, they're a great pattern. I'll put the details on the bottom here. These can be knit up in pretty much one extended evening. They're all knit in the flat. You start at the bottom, something with 12 stitches, and then you increase as you go. And then once you've come so far, you then replace your red yarn for the red breast with brown for the face. And you finish at the top, at the head. And then the little wings, they go pretty much all the way around the back. They are put on, there's sort of got a curvy wavy stitch. And then afterwards, a couple of little eyes with some dots, and then a little beak. And then you sew on the feet to the bottom, and then the little hats. They're so cute. And depending on how many of those I manage to make in the next few weeks, there may be some of those that will go to being Christmas presents of some sort to some little people or not so little people in my life. So they have been really fun. And as I say, after an evening or maybe an extended evening, perhaps on a day off or when all my work has been at the front end of the day, to be able to sit down and just chill in the midst of all the stresses and concerns, and to be able to create something as fun as those little robins, well, it's just been the kind of thing that I think knitting is actually all about. So no apologies for those little critters. I know some people don't like to make toys or those sorts of things, but I actually do. I really love making all sorts of things when I'm knitting. I mean, it gives me great satisfaction when you can make something that you knit and you can see it worn by people. And honestly, if you've been here for any length of time, you'll know that I knit a colourwork sweater for my wife. I finished it this time last year in time for Christmas, and I also did a more plain petite knit sweater for my daughter. And the lovely thing is, there you go. Is that the first lovely of today's podcast? But the lovely thing is that is when they wear it, and this is coming into the time when pretty much every time Mrs. Clark and I are heading out, Mrs. Clark reaches for the colourwork sweater, and she's always very proud to say, "My husband knitted this, my husband knitted this, my husband knitted this," and she gets lots of nice comments on her sweater. So that's nice. That's nice. And so my daughter, although she's away in Edinburgh at university, she does wear her sweater, and that's really nice. It's really nice. So yeah. So although it's good to have things that you make and you can see people wear and see people enjoy, I also love to be able to do things that you can gift, and especially that you can give to any children in your life, or in my case, I often try and knit little things for some of the children at church, and it's just an extra way for me to say, as I think I've said before, it's just an extra way for me to say to the parents and to the children that they're really valued, and that their pastor thinks of them and prays for them, and likes them. Really, the children are lovely. They remind us of what life is really about. If you want to know and remember what life is really about, you sit and talk to a 4-year-old for 10 minutes, and you'll soon discover all the things that you're missing, that you forgot you were even supposed to be giving some attention to. So I'm looking forward to be able to doing a few gifty things in the next little while, in the lead up to the Christmas thing, which is coming very close. As I sit here and record, it is Friday. I think it is the 28th or something of November, if that's right. I think Sunday is the 30th, and then Monday is the 1st of December. So yes, it's about there. And today is my day off. I don't have very much planned today, which is sometimes a bit of a rarity, even with a day off. Although I am planning to go and have lunch with a knitty friend on the island, another gentleman who knits, and we're going to have lunch and catch up a little bit and see how he's been getting on. So that's the plan. I'll be heading off for lunch in a little while. You want a weather update, don't you? A weather update. Now, actually, at the moment, the sun is shining. Now, you might be able to see the reflection of the sun just behind me there. But all the way through the night, we've had another storm blow through. Not a severe storm because it doesn't have a name, but being on the sort of west coast of Scotland, right by the Atlantic, we often get the back end of any amount of American storms. So thank you, Americans, for sending us your storms. But to be honest, at this time of the year, October, November, into December, early December, we can get a lot of unsettled weather. And at some point, things do change and we start to get a little bit more air from the Arctic up north, and things get a little bit cooler and usually a little bit more settled. We sometimes get some snow, but it's not that common here in the west because we're very close to the sea, so we don't get much of that. But yeah, so it does come. But that's what the weather's doing today. It still is breezy though, even in spite of the fact that the sun is shining. We do have a fair bit of, I can see the palm trees moving over there. And yes, I did say palm trees. Here in Arran we have palm trees. We have a Gulf Stream that goes, that flies over the west coast of Scotland. So we do get some more temperate weather, and you can grow little palm trees. The neighbours have got some over there, so it's quite nice. But we have had some snow out the back of my house here. You can look over at the bay, Project Bay, and you can see Goat Fell, which is our highest mountain on the island. And for a few days last week and into the week before, there was some snow up there. So winter has started to appear, although it's still very early stages. So there we go. And while we're here, I know I normally do your Gaelic phrase of the day a little bit towards the end of the video, but while we're talking about weather, I thought I would give you a weather phrase, because everybody needs a weather phrase. And if you ever visit Scotland, this is a good phrase to have, because it's so onomatopoeic to describe the weather. So if you want to say it's wet and miserable today, you would say Hae fluch and dew. Hae fluch and dew. You got it? Hae fluch and dew. And fluch is just a lovely word to describe that sort of wet, miserable, damp, breezy, autumnal come wintry weather. Hae fluch and dew. So there you go. Don't say you come here and never learn anything. We're always willing to impart something of something. Now, that is not, the socks are not the only thing I've been knitting on. The little robins are not the only thing that I have been knitting on. I have been also continuing to knit on my burgundy sweater, and I'll show you where I'm at with that in just a little while. But therein lies a tale, because some of my doctor's appointments in the summer, shall we say, motivated me somewhat to start to do a few things about my health. I am diabetic, and I am not the best diabetic in the world, as you could probably tell. I do like a scone. I'm a bit partial to cake. I enjoy knitting and chocolate and all those things that I shouldn't really be having. I love bread, I love pasta, I love potatoes, I love all the things that one should not really love. But I decided, because of some other challenges I'm having health-wise, all related, it's a slippery slope, friends. I decided that, okay, this is time. It is time. Andrew Clark, you are 45 years old. It is time. And so I spent a good 2 months deciding that I would go quite hard in. I cut out all the biscuits, all the bread, most of the potato products, all the pasta, all the chocolate, all the cakes, all the chocolate, all the cakes, all the yeah, you get the idea. And as well as that, I joined the local gym down at the local resort, which is no great suffering, because after that you can always go and have a nice plate of soup and enjoy the ambiance of the resort. But I did join the gym, and so I've been doing some stuff. I know I still look quite chunky, but in the last, I would say the last couple of months, I've lost nearly 2 stone. Now, if you don't know what a stone is, there's 14 pounds in a stone. Is that right? No. Yes, 14 pounds in a stone. I've lost nearly 2 of them. So I'm quite proud of that. It's taken me down to a weight that I have not been for at least 20 years. I think personally, maybe even longer than that. I think if you can see me there in my wedding picture, I don't know how clear, but I think I wasn't, that was 25 years ago. I think I wasn't too far away from the weight that I actually am now when I got married. So for me, folks, this is good progress. I mean, do you really want to know this? I mean, I was always quite thin as a young man, because I lived a good maybe 1.5 miles away from the secondary school that I attended, and I mostly used to walk back and forward with friends. And as well as that, I used to play in the school band. As you know, I play in the brass band, and I used to carry my instrument all the way to school and back. So that kept me fairly fit. And I used to, when I was younger, do a lot of cycling around about the lanes and streets of the area I grew up in. So I had the exercise, and you know, when you're young, you can eat, you know, all sorts of trash as long as you're moving and keeping the body moving. You can stay, you know, reasonably lean. But I would say probably from the age of 16, 17, you know, it was all downhill. So I haven't always been proud of that. And if you've ever struggled with body image or your weight or exercise, because one of the things that challenged me with exercise is when I was a child and into my early teens, I was quite a severe asthmatic, and so that was quite problematic. A problematic asthmatic. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. It caused me a lot of trouble sort of maintaining exercise, and the only reason I think I was able to maintain a decent set of lungs is because I played a brass instrument. And so I think that the breathing with the brass did actually help to strengthen those weak lungs. Unfortunately, I was brought up in a home where there was a lot of smoke, a lot of cigarette smoke, and I think that didn't really help me. So that whole stuff, and as I said before, all this mental health stuff that can come when you grow up in an environment that's not always as conducive as it could be, and when, you know, in the winter it gets dark and miserable for many months. That was the perfect storm for Andrew Clark. So here I am, 45, realising that I quite enjoy the process now of gaining back some of that fitness and even vitality that many of those years robbed. And that's the thing about life, isn't it? Life does rob you of stuff. I know I'm getting very philosophical, but that's how I'm feeling today. That's how reflective I'm feeling as I knit here away in this little sock. It's very easy to get downtrodden by life, but we have to press on in. And then there's this topic called grace. It's when you give yourself permission, and when you're kind to yourself, and when you say, okay, you tried today, it didn't quite work, we'll start again tomorrow. And that's definitely a philosophy that I've tried to employ with my knitting, because, you know, when you start out, you've got, you know, plenty of design features that you can work into your knitting, and I still do. I've just made one just there while I'm talking away to you. But certainly it happens in life. You know, we get those mistakes, and we just have to give ourselves grace somehow, and hope that others will give us grace too. And then try again tomorrow, with the help of loved ones and with whatever God or not you happen to believe in. Anyway, so coming back to the red sweater, that's where that all started. That was all inspired. It just kept coming from the red Guernsey, designed by Martin Storey, as I've said. And if you've been here for a wee while, you'll have known that I cast this project on. To be honest now, I don't even know. I would have to go and check the archives as to when I actually casted this red jersey, simple man's fisherman's type sweater on. And I got onto the question of weight and exercise because, of course, when I cast the sweater on, I was 2 stone heavier. And what I am finding right now in life is that all my regular clothes that I have been wearing are now quite loose, or in some cases unwearable. For example, about a month ago I was going to attend a funeral of a friend, and I went to the wardrobe and pulled out my suit, my new suit, which I hadn't long bought because I'd previously lost another pile of weight. Tried on my new suit and it was far too big, and I thought I cannot turn up in public like this. So it's been an expensive couple of months trying to, you know, get the necessary pieces of clothes that one needs to look decent to fulfill one's working duty and for life in general. So this red sweater, I do fear that it is going to be rather large. And what I do know is that I did lots of, you know, fairly careful measurements at the beginning, careful calculations of all the different bits of my upper body, so that I chose the right sweater. Rather than just assuming that I was going to be this size or that size, I did all the measurements and happily started knitting away. And as I look at it now, having picked it up after a little while, I'll get to that in a minute, I'm thinking, it's huge. It's going to be another one of those indoor sweaters, which at the end of the day is not going to be the end of the world. Because being a Scotsman and having some, just a little bit of stingy DNA in there, I don't always like to pay the electric company all of my money. So for example, on a day like today, where we're coming into winter, and I am going to be the only person in the house until at least 3 p.m, and it's only 11 a.m. at the moment, I tend not to put the heating on. I tend to be fairly warm-blooded and not need to have heating anyway, but I will rather put on a jumper or a sweater rather than put the heating on. I'd rather put on 2 pairs of socks than put the heating on, because it costs me nothing to put socks on, but it costs me a certain amount of pence per hour to put the heating on. So there we go. That's just how it rolls when Andrew Clark is in the home on his own. So yes, I will wear this, and I did decide that I was going to keep on knitting the sweater, and it would be a helpful reminder of previous sizes, but also by the fact that I had put so much effort into it. I was enjoying the process of the knit. I was enjoying the simplicity of the pattern. I was enjoying the wool which I'm knitting, which is Cascade 220. I was enjoying the whole thing, so I wasn't going to start again. And to be honest with you, if it really is just ridiculous, I am sure that there are probably some people in my life that I could think of, if I thought hard enough, that I could impart said sweater to, who would be able to possibly make more use of it in general than I would. Now, the funny little story with this is, I don't know what I did, but I think last time I showed you this sweater, I had just cast off the top where the shoulders are, where these pins are. That's where the see. Look. That's how big it's looking. Anyway, that's where the shoulders go. There's lots of stitches sort of crammed on there. That's where the soldiers' shoulders pick up, and the nice rib there where you pick the arms up. Little marker stitch for the arms, and then the little rib and garter stitch to the bottom. That's the back panel, and I think I showed you that last time, and then finished that, and I may have started to cast on the next panel. I think I did, but what I managed to do, I can't remember how I managed to do this, but I managed to lose this knitting. How does that even happen? I managed to lose it. I mean, I've done it, I've obviously found it again, but one of the reasons I ended up doing these little doodads here and go on to yet another pair of socks is because I just could not find the front panel of this sweater. And what I had done, I think last time I was talking to you on the video, I may have cast this on, but it was right at the very beginning. And what I did, after I was tidying up, after all the things that I showed you on the last video, I put this in the bottom of one of my my tote bags, and then put my yarn acquisitions in on top of it, and put it over by my seat, which is on the other side of the room where I normally sit, and went and did holiday, only took my socks to knit, came back, stuff happened, everything got frantic, and then could I remember where I'd put my Gansey? Could I? Nothing. And then it was just the other day when I started to do a little bit of clearing up in the living room, because we're still sort of moving in. I mean, life is busy. We haven't long moved in this. We moved in this house in March this year, and we're in decent shape. But there's still stuff lying about, and Christmas is starting to come, and we decorate sort of early for Christmas. So I was starting to get things in a bit more of a shape for getting ready to decorate for Christmas. And I thought, I can't find this knitting. I don't know. I checked in the car. I've checked it everywhere, and I thought, when was the last time I saw it? I think I had it, yeah, oh, that, and then I remembered I'd put it in the bottom of the tote that it normally lived in, and then I put a whole lot of stuff in on top of it. So, you know, I would forget my head if it was not attached to my neck and my parcel. So anyway, there we are. I've got, this is the front, and as you see, it's progressing. It is pretty much the same pattern as the back, until you get to the neck. It does something different for the neck front. I think the back panel, you pretty much just knit all the way up and it's just a square across the back. But I think there's a little bit more shaping along the front because it's got a sort of kind of like a little bit of a boat neck, with that fisherman's sort of idea behind it. And there's some gussets that come under the arms and possibly even on the shoulders, in the sort of Gansey, fisherman's Gansey style. So I have picked this up again, and as I say, when I hold this, I mean, that's supposed, but as I say, as I have started, so I will continue, and I will come to the end. And to be honest with you, I'm so close now. That's the yarn there, Cascade yarns, 270, and I know it's got a sweary word there. I know it's superwash, but I know. So that's what's been happening on the old knitting front, friends. And there's not much else to show you. Oh, that's not true. That is not true. That is. Hang on a little minute. Okay, hang on. I think last time when I was here, I was showing you that I had bought a pack of Latvian mittens to knit from the Scottish Yarn Festival, which was back in September. Was it September? Yes, September, over in Perth in central Scotland. And I showed you the wonderful array of the mitts. They had lots on display and the lovely patterns, lovely. I was going to say beautiful, and I changed my mind to lovely. So lovely patterns. And I decided on this particular pattern because I thought it looked fun, and it has been fun. And I want to show you, that's the pattern. I want to show you where I've got to so far. I've only started on one mitten. Now I think this is knitting that you really have to sit down in a quiet time and really take the opportunity to concentrate and just focus on the knitting. I can't do this while I'm doing all sorts of other things. But wait till you see this. You ready for this? Look at this. Look at that. Aren't you impressed by that? I'm impressed by that. So that is my first mitten. And just to bring it a little bit closer, you can see it's mainly this is dark blue in case that's not coming out properly. It's a navy blue, lovely creamy white. And there's little flashes of red just there along that line. And then in the middle of this star and feature here. And then it's slightly different on the other side. You can see the pattern's just a wee bit variant in that you've got this larger red splodge in there than you have on that side. I'm really impressed with these. The yarn is lovely. It doesn't say in the box what brand the yarn is, I don't think, but it does come with a lovely box of it. The red, a little bit of red, and the white and the navy blue, you can see there. And I have been really impressed by these. What I've been less impressed by is some of my knitting skill. In what I mean by that is I've been doing these magic loop because that's what I do, and that might be part of it. Maybe if I had these on double pointed needles, I might not have this trouble, but I suspect I probably could. What I'm finding is when you're carrying yarn around the sides here, inside, if you're not very careful, the yarns can be too tight, and it creates a strand that goes like in part across and makes a smaller gap. You can't really see that there, I can't show you because the needles are quite close together, but there are some strands which are just a little bit too tight. So I'm noticing that, and I think I've managed to fix the red one which started there, and I've only managed to fix it by pulling the yarn so that the red yarn has come away from the stitch that should be there, and has come a little bit further on. It hasn't unraveled or anything like that, but I will have to go back and do a little duplicate stitch with a red in there, because I see I think the yarn has come, and that was just to sort the too tight tension of the yarn going around the corner. So that's been an issue. So I'm trying very much now to make sure I'm as loosey-goosey on those corners as I possibly can. So as I say, this is going to be a slow knit. This is going to be a slow knit, and I don't mind slow knitting at all. It's one of the reasons I knit, as I keep on saying. What I was impressed with, however, is my very first Latvian braid. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that very pleasing? It's just very delicate, and it's very fitting for these mittens. These don't have an intended owner. I don't think they'll be mine, because I've got you know big old hands. I think these will end up being maybe for a young lady in my family, or whatever, whoever wants them. But I'm just loving this. I'm loving the detail of the colour work. I'm just loving the product that is being created, and it's the kind of thing that even if they're filled with mistakes inside and they don't end up being wearable because of that, it's something that you would proudly be able to make and keep and finish, and just keep in a nice box and say, look at me, I made this. And so who knows what the fate of these will be. One of the slightly tricky things about it is I've noticed that you can see it particularly on this section here, is that there are some of these rows where you're doing colour work with 3 different colours. I did not anticipate that. I'm quite comfortable doing colour work with 2 colours. I can do that almost with my eyes closed. But just getting that one other colour in there in the space of a row, and then to be carrying, not only to be knitting with 3 colours, but also to be carrying 3 colours in the back has been quite tricky. I don't know if I can show you. I can show you. I mean, it looks quite neat in there, really, doesn't it? That's the back end there. And I don't know, and you can't even hugely tell if I show you the insides there. That's where all the ends are. You can't really see where those tight connections are. So it might actually be okay. But as I say, carrying 3 strands behind at different stages, so you're not getting lots of bunch up and various things, has been an extra skill to learn. But it hasn't been bad and really enjoyable. So look at these. This could be the what do you call it? The thumbnail at the beginning. Yeah, it might be. So yeah, it's been quite a productive knitting time, I would say, in spite of all the things. Of course, with my work, I'm a Baptist pastor, in case you didn't know, and get involved in various other things. It's coming up to that Christmas time, and we do have a few extra things on that happen at Christmas time. Of course, we have extra carol services and particular themed activities for the community and for the children and the young people, etc., etc., etc. So it is a little bit busier, but in many ways it's just the normal work that keeps going. The pastoral care, community involvement, musical involvement on the island, all that sort of stuff. It just continues. Family life continues, all that sort of stuff. Eating less, going to the gym continues. But it's all good. It's all good. So friends, I want to thank you for coming and joining me today. Just in case you are new to the channel, this video is what I call an extra stitch video, and this is a video where I just sit and have a nitty chat. My main episodes, which are on a different playlist, are where there's usually a few more trips, a few more interesting things to go and watch, as well as just the knitting. So if you're up for a bit of that, hop over there and view some of the episodes, the main episodes. But see, these extra stitches are just opportunity to sit down and have a wee blether and have a nitty update. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope whatever you're knitting on, again, you're enjoying that. To all my American friends, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. It wasn't too chaotic, and it all was harmonious and all the rest of it. that comes with these family occasions, if you celebrate it, of course. And I hope that whatever you're planning for December, whether you celebrate Christmas or anything else, I hope you're able to, keep the peace in your own head and heart, and that you'll know the warmest blessings of the season. Will I be able to get back in December? Well, one always hopes. Will I be doing Vlogmas? No. But I do hope that I will see you at some point in December, I hope. And it may well be that will have some extra features in, so I may be able to do a main episode, but I am actually not sure. So I can't promise anything. I shan't promise anything. And on the understanding that you'll know that if I can, I will be back and I will bring you the next exciting episode of the Albanach Knitter. So that's all for me now. Thank you very much for joining me here. Please do like and subscribe. Turn on your notifications. That helps the channel keep active even when I'm not able to get to the camera to make a video. It really helps to keep the channel floating. And again, thank you once again so much for all your support. You watching the videos means that from the ad revenue, YouTube send me a few quid, and that helps me buy the wool and all that sort of thing, and keep on knitting. And thank you so much still to those of you who support me via Ko-fi, and the details are there if you want to do that. All your support is very much appreciated, but none more so than you turning up here to have a chat on the video or in the comments below. So I'll meet you down there, and I'll look forward to that. But for now, Martian Lave and Rasta, agus Bianach Jacket. Take care for now, and God bless.